Rock the Cradle is the 26th and final episode of the 4th season of Full House. This is directed by Zwick, and as always there will be spoilers from now as I go through the episode and share some thoughts. And I'm going to go through things chronologically, and it starts off quite lively. It's not a Michelle-themed intro, and the intros usually are Michelle-themed, so that's quite interesting. And Jessie and the Rippers are playing music, and there is a record producer there, and he's going to take the tape away. Fingers crossed things go well for Jessie and the Rippers, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. We're then in the kitchen with most of the people there, and Michelle has an imaginary friend called Glenn, and Kimmy is talking about imaginary friends and how, well, Danny pointed out that DJ's imaginary friend disappeared when Kimmy came along, and Kimmy says to Danny, "You'll be sorry when I'm gone, Mr. T." And Danny's reply was brilliant. "How would I know? You never leave." I love it. I love the interactions between Danny and Kimmy. They're always so much fun. The phone then rings, and it's... I had a good laugh with this. It's Dr. Crane's office. I mean, it's impossible to hear Dr. Crane without thinking of Frasier. Obviously, Frasier's not that kind of doctor, but it made me laugh a lot. And Becky's really excited about what she's hearing. She goes into the living room, and Danny follows her and tells her it's obvious. She's excited on the phone. She's eating a lot of beef jerky. It's clear that she's pregnant. And the girls were all listening in from the kitchen, and they burst in when they hear this, and Becky confirms that this is true. But she hasn't told Jessie yet about her suspicions. She was waiting to find out. So we then cut to this beautiful romantic dinner in the attic. We have candles, and Becky's wearing this gorgeous red dress, and Jessie comes in with his own good news. The Rippers are going on tour. And he reveals this after Becky tries to play Guess the Theme with the dinner, because they're having baby shrimp and baby corn. And according to Jessie, it seemed like he was going to get it. The suspense in this episode is very well done. The theme is finger food, according to Jessie. And Becky just leaves it at that. But then they all are downstairs, and we have this brilliantly written exchange, very, very funny, where everybody's congratulating Jessie because they think he's about to talk about the baby, but he wants to tell them about the tour, and he thinks that they must have found out about it, and they're saying all of these things, and Jessie's saying things like he's been practicing for years in the garage and all of these really brilliant things, and I found that to be very well written and very funny. And then they play Pictionary. I'm laughing at Becky's drawing. I'll explain it in a moment. And Becky decides to draw out a film, and she drew cheese, half, an ink bottle she's having, and then she drew what Jessie said looked like a hot dog. I thought it looked like a bowling pin. It was, of course, a baby. And Becky ends up blurting out, "She's having a baby, I'm having a baby," and Jessie finally gets it and then faints. And we then have a really beautiful scene with Jessie and Michelle, and I think one of the biggest things for Jessie to remember here is that he might be nervous, but he has done such an amazing job of helping raise Michelle. I don't think anybody would deny the fact that whenever we see Jessie and Michelle interacting, it's just absolutely beautiful. And Michelle helped to remind him of this. She even said he'd done a good job of raising her, which was just so sweet. And then we have the brilliant final scene, really well played out. I think everything went in the direction it should have done, where Jessie tells Becky, first of all, "I'm not going to go on tour. I'll be right there beside you all day, every day." And Becky's response when she replied rather flatly, "That's really going to get on my nerves," I thought was brilliant, and also something that I could see coming. There's being supportive, and then there's just being in the way. And Jessie, was fine to go on the tour with Becky's encouragement. Becky said she'd even go with him because she can travel. She's pregnant. She's not on her deathbed or anything. And it's also, I guess, perfect timing as well, because had this happened, had the tour been scheduled for, say, 7-8 months down the line, it would have been a different story. So actually, it seems like everything's timed pretty perfectly. They can go on the tour. Becky can take some time off her vacation from and get her head around things and get used to being pregnant and what that might be like, because I imagine after the initial shock, it'll take some time to get used to, certainly for Jessie as well. So I think it's a really lovely way for them to spend time together and be away from things and just take a break and spend some time on the road. And then Michelle comes up, and Becky's smile when she sees Michelle in the doorway is the most beautiful thing. I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but fictional characters make me cry. It's gorgeous. Her smile is so beautiful and so genuine, and she is genuinely so happy, and that is so lovely to see. And then we find out that the baby is currently nicknamed Big Bird, which is just brilliant. It's a really solid episode and a really strong way to end this season. Season 4 has been brilliant. Obviously, I know what's in store. I've seen the rest of the show in the next episode. Generally, some pretty good times ahead, and needless to say, this is a really strong end to the 4th season of Full House.